Welcome to the Belly Brain Connection. I'm Hannah Winans. I'm a certified functional nutrition counselor, and I'm on a mission to help educate people about the connection between their gut health and mental well-being. I believe that our gut health is the cornerstone to our overall health. And when we nourish our bodies, we nourish our minds. Belly Brain is for informational purposes only. I am not offering any kind of medical advice here. If you need medical advice, please consult your physician. Thanks for tuning back in. Today is episode 15. I had a wild week in my day job this past week, so I was hoping that I would have time to get the information together for you to dive into the connection between your gut microbiome and exercise, but I just couldn't get it together this week. So we're going to table that for next week, and I'm going to keep this episode kind of short, but I would like to expand on a couple of the things that we've talked about in the past two episodes, and then I wanted to share with you a little bit of an epiphany I had this week with my own health and the way that I'm eating my food, basically. So we'll cover those things, and then, like I said, next week hopefully I'll have more information for you about that microbiome exercise connection. So to expand on what we talked about last week, I had presented the book The Gut-Brain Paradox by Dr. Stephen Gundry, and we're definitely going to add that to the list of books that I recommend on the website. I went to go order it, and it's not out yet. It won't be available until April 15th, so you can certainly pre-order it. But I'm really excited to get my hands on that book. If you want to learn a little bit more about what that book's going to cover, go to my website, bellybrain.com. I have an interview between Dr. Stephen Gundry and Ed Milet, and that kind of gives an overview of what the book's going to be about. And then to kind of circle back to glyphosate, which I know I keep bringing up, but I'm really, really interested in learning more about it. I had mentioned back a few episodes ago that I wasn't sure. I thought maybe glyphosate might be banned in Europe. It's not banned in Europe, but it is restricted in some of the European countries. And those countries are France, Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. So those countries have tighter restrictions on glyphosate and how it can be used. And it sounds like from everything that I am reading that Europe has been trying to ban it or restrict it, and it just it's in the works. So it does seem like they have more regulation on it than we do here in the United States. So I just kind of wanted to fact check that a little bit and bring that information back to you. And then on olive oil, we talked about olive oil last week. That was the food of the week. One of the things I failed to mention that I thought was really fascinating is that there is, when I kind of explained to you the 1 cough, 2 cough, 3 cough situation that goes on with olive oil. So when you've got a really, really good olive oil and it kind of hits the back of your throat and kind of makes you cough, or it kind of tickles your throat, the compound, what's in that olive oil that's doing that, it's called oleocanthal, and it is a phenolic compound, and it is anti-inflammatory. And a very similar compound is in ibuprofen, and whatever's in ibuprofen and the oleocanthal and olive oil have very similar anti-inflammatory properties. And, ibuprofen will kind of burn the back of your throat too if you were to chew it up. So I meant to include that in the last episode and left that out, but I wanted to get back to you with that because I thought that was really interesting. So the oleocanthal is kind of a natural anti-inflammatory. And I think that's just another really great reason as to why you want to incorporate olive oil into your diet and really pay attention to the 1 cough, 2 cough, 3 cough feeling that you get when you're eating it. And go back to last week if you're wondering what that's all about. So let's see. I think that's it. Oh, and I did find another fermented food that I'm really excited about. I found it at Wild Berries in Arcata. It is Pickled Planets. I think they're a company out of Ashland, Oregon, and they have several kind of different fermented mixes. But I found the taqueria mix, which is so good. So it's carrots, jicama, and onion. And I think sometimes you'll see this in some Mexican restaurants kind of on the side. It is so good. I've gone through the whole thing this week already, and I'm just not even putting it on anything. I'm just eating it right out of the jar. So taqueria mix by Pickled Planet. And don't forget what we learned about a few episodes ago. You got to make sure that you're keeping your fermented food in the brine. It's fine in the brine is the quote that we heard. So don't forget that. So just make sure you're pushing that fermented food back down into the brine. Okay, so let's see. Food of the week. This week is the avocado. I'll talk a little bit about the health benefits of the avocado, which I think a lot of us already know about, but there are some things that I've learned that kind of surprised me. So I wanted to share that with you. But the topic for today that I wanted to go over, I realized this week, I had one of those weeks where just really busy. I never got centered. I just felt like I was working really hard, and we had birthday. It was my husband's birthday. Happy birthday, Rich. I have the best husband in the world. It was his birthday. So we had a birthday dinner. I had chamber mixers, board meetings, a lot of after hours kind of stuff. And I just was really running around like a nut. And I was eating my walnuts because I'm trying to be good, right? Although we did have a cake in the house that was harassing me all week. I swear it was calling my name. But other than that, we were doing good. I had my walnuts and all my backup stuff that I use for when I'm really busy. And I almost choked on a walnut. And I basically realized that I'm not chewing my food. And I know it sounds really silly, and it's like digestion 101, chew your food. But when you stop and think about it, I realize when I'm rushing around, I'm not properly chewing my food. And back, I think in episode 3 or 4, I talk a little bit about the first phase of digestion, which is your cephalic phase. And that's actually your brain priming your digestive system for the food you're going to eat. So it's when you smell food and your mouth starts to water, all of that, your digestion first is activated in your brain. But the next step is actually the mechanical phase, I think it's what they call it, and that's chewing. And, as a kid, I remember hearing my parents say, we really need to chew. And I just realized, I feel like I don't chew my food enough. And when I almost died from a walnut, I realized that. I was like, oh, they're going to find me on the floor with a handful of walnuts scattered around me, and that's going to be the end of me. But it just kind of brought home to me that, I'm kind of a fast eater. I'm always on the move. I've been trying to sit down more and really, kind of say a little grace, be thankful for and grateful for my food, which I do every once in a while. But most of the time I've got a beef stick in my hand. I'm on the road. And I was thinking to myself, what is that doing for my digestion? I know that the more you chew food, the easier it is to digest, but what else, right? What are some other reasons why I might want to be patient and really start chewing? And what I researched and found out is there's a lot of stuff that's happening in just that chewing process. So you're basically, I'm checking out my notes here if you're watching me, but really chewing activates your digestive enzymes. So just that process of chewing in the saliva activates your digestive enzymes so that you can better extract the nutrients that you're trying to get. So that's kind of important. If you don't chew your food properly, you could have indigestion, heartburn, acid reflux, constipation, malabsorption. So that's kind of a big deal. And I know a lot of us have these kind of gut issues. And I'm wondering, are we really, as part of that, because we're not chewing our food? The other thing that I learned was that if the food isn't broken down enough, it leaves more room. The bigger pieces basically leave more room for the bad kind of bacteria to grow. I need to do a little more research on that, but that was something I read real quickly, and I thought that was interesting. Certain vegetables, I think they're phytophenols, I'm sorry, I don't have that right because now I can't read my notes. But there's basically a chemical that's released from some certain vegetables, like cruciferous vegetables, where the actual chewing of that vegetable activates it. Chewing begins the process of breaking down carbohydrates. And, I'd heard a term that some of you may have heard describing people who are kind of really into nutrition and trying to live kind of a healthier lifestyle, trying to eliminate toxins out of their diets as crunchy. I don't know if that's a new term, but it's new to me. So like a crunchy person is, usually living a pretty clean life. And I thought that was funny because I really feel like that describes a lot of us when we're eating really clean, right? Like things are just crunchy. Carrot, vegetables, most foods in nature are crunchy. And so we need to be paying attention to that. And I think a lot of our kids, we've gotten really used to handing our kids like these little fruit pouches and things that are kind of smooth and chewy. We do protein shakes. How often are we actually starting that mechanical phase of the digestive process that we need to break things down? So I had read that you're supposed to, whoever they are out in the internet world, they say that you should be chewing your food 30 to 50 times. I've been trying that. Oh my gosh, it's like the longest 30 seconds of your life. I don't know why that is so hard, but definitely I can't get to 50. I'm just too impatient. But when you start counting, you start really realizing, you contrast that to how you normally eat things. And it's like, whoa, I'm not even doing half of that. So I really am going to focus on taking a minute, chewing my food, whether I'm on the go or not. If you just try and be a little bit more aware of it and see how that affects my digestion, I think it might make a big difference. Um, I love to chomp on a carrot, driving down the road, I got a big carrot, I love chomping on it, but am I really chewing it thoroughly so that it's really doing what it needs to do in my system? And I also realized that because now I've been paying attention to this, when I am eating something I'm not supposed to be eating, I eat it really fast. And I don't know if you do the same thing, but my point about this is we had this cake in the house all week. And, I did not, I did have cake. I mean, there's no way I was going to be able to resist it. But I would find myself like going in for a little sliver, but I was like standing up in the kitchen, slicing off a sliver and like just eating it really fast. And to me, I'm thinking reflecting back on that, think about that. When you're eating something you're not probably supposed to, do you rush it? Do you rush it because maybe you feel guilty about it or you want to get it over with or whatever it is? So I just thought it would be interesting to bring to you guys that it was something that I'm looking at and kind of being intentional about my food, taking a minute to really chew it. I know it sounds really silly, but I'm telling you, once you start counting your chews, you will realize how much you are not doing. And that's going to help with your overall digestion. So I just thought that was interesting. I hope that's not too weird to bring to you guys. I came up with a great little rhyme in my head to say when I'm chewing, but it's not classy, so I'm not going to say it here, but you can message me. I'll send it to you and your kids will love it. But so tip of the week, chew your food, chew it really good. See how you feel. Avocados. I'm trying to make this quick today, but for the avocado things that you need to know, avocados are great because they're full of fiber, so they really help your digestion. They're rich in monosaturated fats, and that helps with blood flow to the brain. So we've already got the belly-brain connection right there. They are great for your heart health. They have I can't say the word, oleoic acid. They are mood boosting because they've got omega-3s, B6 and folate. They help with blood sugar regulation, and they have a lot of potassium in them. So really, I think a lot of us know that it's a superfood. What I didn't realize, I didn't know about the potassium so much, and I didn't really know about the blood flow to the brain. I didn't make that connection with avocados. We talked last week about adding chia seeds to your guacamole, so that's a really good, powerful snack right there. I love to take an avocado, take out the seed, and I like to put salsa right in the middle and a dollop of sour cream on it. Super easy, really good. You can add avocado to shakes to make them creamier. There's just a lot that you can do with them, but don't overlook them. It's more than just a healthy fat. So I thought I would share that with you this week. And let's see, I think that's it. So thanks for tuning in. I know it's kind of a short episode, and I will be more prepared next week. But the chewing of the food, oh my gosh, you guys, it sounds so ridiculous, right? But I'm telling you, once you start paying attention to it, you will be very blown away about your behavior, I guess. And I really think that it's really something that we need to get our kids focused on and really getting them to take a minute to appreciate and think about the food that they're eating and how it's going to nourish their bodies. And when you're forced to slow down your chewing, you have that time to do that. So anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, we will dive into that gut microbiome and exercise connection. I appreciate you guys. I hope this helps. Have a good week.